That's recorded.
Oh, good then.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, fine.
Yeah, but just don't touch anything.
I did the same.
I could hear it go ding, and then I knew that something had happened. Otherwise, that would have been another one of them moments. Like, I thought, oh, we've done some fantastic work, and then there's nothing at all, not even film. So I'm going to get her practice this response to no. Yes. No. Yes. So you probably haven't practiced it, like you might have done something similar, but I bet you haven't got her as G'd up and like really into it. Yeah. So the reason we're doing that, if we want to practice using no as a capacity to control like reactive or negative behavior patterns that's coming in from the dog, we have to kind of practice that at the best level we can. So it's like getting her flowing, and this actually also lends itself well to training. Yes. No. Yes. And then we always break and redirect towards something else. So what we're doing with this, no. Yes. 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 So we have to get her flying around so that she doesn't get to the point where she's anticipating the NO word. Yes. And I'm going to try one of those full thrown ones, because that's like, no. Yes. So let's take a closer look at this. We are simply using the word yes as a positive, as a good thing, a release, and it's something we want. And then the use of no, and we're teaching this or helping the dog learn this without the use of corrections, so that we're able to let the dog know that eventually this is something that we don't need. So if we can say, yes, that's something we need, and no, that's something we don't need, it enables us to communicate with the dog much more effectively, so the dog is able to learn a lot of new ideas. Because her brain would have been ready to go. You can bring a ball into this. And for her, it goes up a level once you introduce the ball, because she's mad about balls and retrieving. No. Yes. And sit. And we would definitely sometimes do that, because by choice, her priority would be this. So we got that break with the NO word. She pulls up, and then we divert that energy somewhere else. I don't know if you ever tried this before. Down. No. Did you ever try doing that before?
I think that is really challenging.
And that's the idea. Challenging. Down. And then that next challenge, the next challenge to this is to actually pull her away from that. Joyce, sit. Fetch. And we let her have it. Good girl. Good girl. And I'd whiz her up, but sometimes we like dogs to sometimes possess that toy, so we don't always want to be going for perfect retrieves and we're just snatching it back at the first opportunity. So I don't know, that might be something you've done, something you've not done. It's a good idea. And then we take it. Nope. Nope. So she didn't want to release, so I had to tell her. But most of the time she does release like really easy. Nope. Do you see how close that was to her? So can you see how like you're practicing a really great response to that no word? Were you ever doing it at that level?
No, I wouldn't challenge it that much.
No.
Yeah, I think that's able to be that restrained.
Yes. But that's kind of the control we like. If we get certain types of dog, people with ordinary pet dogs that are just nice general run-of-the-mill dogs, they should go for this kind of control. But once you get a certain type of dog, I think it's critical. You haven't got that level of control. You've got that window there where things can go wrong. And if obviously we're clearly not doing that with your dog, but like people do with this kind of dog. If we were doing like man work stuff, so that would sometimes be a sleeve, not a ball. And we're looking for that same level of responsiveness to the no. And if you were training a working dog, you would introduce a word such as out, which means to disengage. I always like initially to work with just the simple binary, yes and no, because once you get that simple binary in place, it takes a lot of other training drops into place very easy, because you're able to string together some quite complex communication between you and the dog, just using the ability to say yes, we want that bit, no, we don't want that bit, yes. And then we just let her have it. So look, I mean, we did that because she's, you know, we can kind of forget, but like she was on that, wasn't she? And I said, no, she was doing it. And she stopped. So, and then we had that chat and she just totally switched off and she chilled and she relaxed. So that's kind of what we're after. I've got a stronger ball. Nope. Sit. Sit. Nope. Nope. No. But she might no leave, but we want her to listen to that no. Ideally, I want her to just like put my hand on that and she's just giving it to me. But like it doesn't matter because we're going for drive as well. I'm going to try this with her. We haven't done many goes at this one yet. So I'm just going to dig a different ball out. Does she like kongs? Have you ever used a rubber kong with her? Yeah. So this is one of the leads we use. It's kind of not the down. It's kind of not the lead that we've been using for her. So what I'm going to do, we're going to do this game. Yes. We're going to let her catch it. Yes. 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 I've tried this with an air Kong, which is like a long sausage tennis ball thing. So I think it might be the chain that's putting her off, and you'll see why a bit later on, because that's kind of the concept we're using for the walk into heel. So we'll just see. I might give it a little throw. That'll let her get going, because this bit would be something good if I can show you it. Yeah. Yes. Sit. And she's kind of anticipating the reward there, but I didn't manage to get it ready. Yes, that's why she spat it out, which is good. We don't mind that. So I'm going to see if I can get her on the lead. Yes, 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 yes. Did you ever do a bit of tugging with her? Yes. So we'll get her tugging.
Like a flat ball, which is what I use.
Yeah. And what's she got on the end of that? Just like a little,
Like a little
fluffy thing. Yeah. So I'm going to get a release. Yes. So this is much better than a flirt pole, yeah? Because your little fluffy flirt on the end, you wouldn't really be letting her catch that very often, because it'd cease to exist, wouldn't it? So this kind of level of engagement nope. And a disengagement, yes. Nope. Nope. Yes. Yes. Of course, we need to let her catch it. No, no, down, down. And then you can level in some other control. Sometimes with dogs that have a certain type of energy, you kind of need to provide this kind of activity, because there's a need in here, in that dog, that needs an outlet for that kind of energy. And if you deny the dog that, then it's possible it can come out somewhere else, on something you really rather it didn't come out on, and then you've got no ability to control it once the dog's gone. So it's good stuff, yeah? But she does switch off, because look, she's switched off. Nope. Down. Spoke too soon, but down. 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 Yes. 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 Nope. Yes. Nope. Down. Yes. 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 She's anticipated the reward there. I'm going to put that away now. So you always play those kind of high intensity games in little bursts, and you always finish where the dog wants more. Finish when the dog wants more. Don't finish when the dog's got like bored. So that little bit where she anticipated what I was going to do next, so that tells me she's not far away from getting bored. So I could have probably done with finishing the time before. So I'll show you over these jumps actually. I don't know where the best camera position is going to be. Maybe go, we'll go a few different positions. Yeah, carry on recording. Go and stand the other side of the second jump. Maybe just a few meters off. Come right centre, like there. That'll probably be a good position. So I'm going to get myself ready with a bunch of these pieces. I don't know what word you use. We've been using hup, which is our command for jump. Yes, hup, hup. Yes, up, up, sit. Yes. Up, up, down, down. Yes, yes. Up. She keeps doing that. on that second one. She'll come back and she'll jump this one. She stopped on because I crumbled that piece of fruit. Yes, up. Nope. Yes. Heel. 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 Sit. Do you remember what we said about working trials? And nope. Joyce. Joyce. Up. Sit. Sit. So what we said about working trials, and I think Schutzhund and some of the other disciplines still do this, where you have control up to the piece of equipment, the dog does the piece of equipment and then goes under control the other side. So we've kind of just been doing a little bit work playing on that scenario, which we kind of tried a little bit before, and she's getting it. But what you got to remember, she's not my dog and I've only had her a couple of weeks. So I walked up, sat her, I'm going to give her the command, up, sit, sit, sit. Yes. Oh, the wind caught that one. Yes. Up, up, up. Kick you. Up, up, up. She admit I did try and reward her because yes. Up, up. Here. Sit. Down. Down. Now I'll reward her in the down. So like it's like boom, 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 down, stop in the middle. So we're practicing a lot of different elements of control around the equipment. And that's kind of what you would never have done when you were doing your agility. It would have been down. And just flying around, goes around as quick as you can. Down, 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 down. I shot myself in the foot there because I've crumbled that. She's got up to make sure she can find all the bits and pieces. So, and when we can just let this flow, so if you come back this side, so I think that was a good bit. So that's, you can kind of just let this flow. So if you come back this side, so you can kind of use furniture in the park to do this kind of thing, as long as you haven't got like somebody trying to sit on it. That's what I mean, like the benches in the park, you can use those. And sometimes I've been to parks where they have like certain types of fitness equipment, where they have like little jumps, little like bars that you can walk. I don't know whether they're still there. I think that was when they first, yeah, they just use like different things. You go in the country and there's a tree down, use the tree. Yeah, just use everything. So you're generalizing it. It's not, you're not just doing everything in the same way. I hate doing everything exactly the same because I think yeah, the dog's, it's just an exercise and the dog's anticipating, knows that exercise, and then you actually have a dog that's not, you've killed, if you're not careful, you can kind of kill the intelligence in the dog. So when something happens that's similar, but it's not the same, now all of a sudden that training doesn't work because it's no longer the exercise that I know and I'm comfortable with. And I've learned because you've like rammed it down my throat that many hundreds of times. It just keep it dynamic and fresh because it keeps the dog emotionally involved in it. The dog's really enjoying it and it's not a bore. You're not boring the dog, and if you're not careful, sometimes those kind of trainings can become a little bit oppressive. So although I'm introducing all these controls, which in all this stuff I've shown you, she's actually enjoying the control part because the control part is part of it. You know, it's all part of the same thing. So I'm going to show you the lead now. So we do this with certain types of dog. We go onto a chain lead. And we use this particular one. it looks, it's a good quality one. It's made by proper saddlers, so all the fittings, all the leather, everything is really, really good. It makes a noise, and there's some weight to it. So I'm going to show you how you would correct the dog with this. So if we're walking to heel, so I'll come back towards you. So if you can stand still. Nope. Heel. Heel. Sit. So if you were in a restaurant and she was playing up and you got her to lay down and you could anticipate she was likely to maybe right, she's moved anyway. Sit. Down. Down. So you think she's going to fire up. Somebody's just come in with a dog that's a little bit edgy, and you can see that she's starting to like not be as comfortable, and she's likely to react. We could just go, nope. And that weight of the lead, us saying no because we've conditioned that into the dog doing all these other exercises, that is often enough to just switch the dog out of that moment. The other thing is, nope, we can make it rattle as well. So we can sort of do it in a way that somebody else doesn't really necessarily see. She knows what you're doing because you've practiced this. Does it make sense?
It's like sound communication to her without making a ruckus to it.
Yeah. And the no, because we've practiced the no, and I've not really been using the no that loud, she is likely to respond to quite a quiet no. I'm going to challenge her using a couple of pieces of food while we're using the lead. So I'm going to let her think she can dart on one, and we will stop her. Nope. 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 Heel. Nope. Down. Heel. Nope. Oh. No. No. Sit. Down. I'm just trying to say, I know where that, oh, that's the other one there. Here. Down. No. She's seen that. I saw her. Down. You can see she's seen it. I saw her clock that as I was moving around. Moving around. It's just about, make it. You need to practice with this lead for it to be able to work in a restaurant. You need to practice it elsewhere as well. So like maybe go to the cafe in the park, or sit on a bench in the park where there's a path literally going by, and you're practicing laying down, being quiet, switching off, and you've maybe got some busy dogs going by, and if she starts to fidget, you're going to correct that. So I'm sure you have lots of emails to do on and off, so you can maybe sit on the bench for 20 minutes, because you're trying to sort of get that association with sitting on the bench for 20 minutes, half hour, 40 minutes, because that's the kind of length of time you're going to be in the restaurant, isn't it? So you have to practice that skill somewhere else where it doesn't matter, And that's kind of what you have to do. And we're challenging her with the food, but you challenge her with anything, you know, challenge. Nope. You challenge her with the ball, the toy. Because we're doing it in association with this and the control, I wouldn't now let her have that ball now. I might let her have the food because I can.
The reward for responding would be.
Yeah, if you reward her for laying down quietly for 40 minutes by producing the ball, she just explodes. And we don't want that kind of reward. We want a reward that is more based. Is it dopamine? Is it what's the chemical that you know? If she's gone calm,
More touching,
yeah. So it's like, yeah, not adrenaline. I bring the ball up, bang! She's exploding. You can see the dog responds to body language too. So if you can get into a chilled, relaxed state, and you're practicing that skill in the dog, then the dog starts to learn how to achieve that, you know, that state of mind as well. Because it's not natural. It's certain types of dogs. It's not natural to go into that state of mind very easily. You know, they're not as a type of dog like a Malinois, for instance. To go into that state of mind is going against every grain in that dog's body. I mean, these are very similar.
Yeah, she's not, as you say, like the off switch doesn't come naturally to her.
Yeah, so you have to practice it. And one of the better ways to reward this now is with very quiet, calm touch. But you don't want the dog to become dependent on that, so you wouldn't overuse it. But that's a better reward than actually even the piece of food that I gave her. I gave her the food because I think we challenged her enough. Let's get rid of that piece of food now and give her a chance to really relax. And if I was to say any words to the dog now, it would just be down. Down. So the association is with that word. Not the no. Sometimes we need the no if the dog's got drive, and we need to tell her we don't need that anymore. So it's not necessarily even a correction. It's just some information. I like to sort of think of, like, if you've trained the dog to respond to no properly, when you're giving the dog, you need to give the dog some kind of feedback and be able to interrupt some behaviour. You need to information. So the no enables you to deliver that. So it doesn't have to be a correction.
So in this situation, if she was about to break that down,
I would give this weighty chain lead a little flick, just whatever was required, and I would just say, then I would say no. That's the information. And I wouldn't layer the down into that. Yeah, because what am I doing? The dog's down still, but she's becoming. She's about to break. She's agitated. She's ready to go, and we need to tell her not to. It'd be better to do that by, because what's going on in there is. Do you swear? Do you swear?
Everyone does, I think.
Right. So the dog's thinking, it's a fucking dog there. Fucking dog there. So that's all she's thinking, and we need to go, nope, don't matter. You just stay there, mate. And you absolutely need to practice. You probably did downs, but you probably wouldn't have even if you bumped into somebody you knew in the park. Make her lay down. So if you're going to be talking to somebody for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, passing the time of day or whatever, tell the dog to lay down. So it starts to become like a default position, and then like you're doing the other bits, we're bouncing the ball around her. So you know, there's every element of the training we're progressively improving. You know, how useful that is, because a lot of people teach their dogs to lay down, but they never get beyond a trick. So it's down, reward. Down, throw the ball. Down, here's a piece of food. You know, they never develop it into anything useful. Down is only useful if you can say down to the dog, and potentially the dog's still there half hour later. Nope. So there, that was worth some information. Nope, that was worth some Nope, that's worth some information, because she's getting bored now. That's why you have to practice it, because you've got to go through the boredom threshold so that she thinks, okay. And then what you'll find with some dogs, you'll look round and then they're just on their side and they're just having a kip, because now they realise we're not going anywhere. I might as well properly switch off now. But that takes some time to get to that level.
I struggle with. Often I have treats with me, and if she's been down for like 5 minutes, I would give her a treat.
Yeah.
But that has a detrimental effect, that sometimes then she then starts getting a bit needy or beggy about a treat.
That reward was not useful at that moment in time. Reward can ruin things.
Yeah. So I think, you know, what you've given her is it's kind of snapped her out of that slightly almost.
Bloody camera's gone. We're still all in it. Somehow or another, the camera was looking over there.
We're still in it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely true. And then most people, they reward too much. You know, if I've got a dog on the lead, there'll be very little reward, apart from the odd touch here and there. I break away from using food with anything to do with lead work fairly quickly.
If you're teaching a hill in a busy high street, let's say,
I would still use this lead.
okay. And would you insist that she stays by your side, or would you let her wander off?
I wouldn't let her go into I don't worry about a dog being a little bit loose in the heel, because we're not competing, so it doesn't matter. But I wouldn't want the dog to think, I need to go and sniff at this thing, and now the dog's like taking the lead and taking me over there. I would really not allow a dog to, I wouldn't allow a dog to sniff very much if it's on the lead and we're moving. Yeah, I would, then I need the dog to sort of be reasonably aware of where I am and reasonably aware of its body position.
Would you clearly tell the dog how much of a lead or
This lead should never be tight. So whatever lead I'm using. Yeah, I mean, the normal lead we use is much longer than this. We're using this one with her for a specific reason. I would usually hold this in my right hand. Heel. Yes. I would usually hold this in my right hand, and I want it to be hanging like that. Nope. And I want it to be hanging like that. And if she's walking like this, that's perfect. But what happened there a moment ago was she is aware of all the pieces of food around here, and she just started to move ahead. So I gave her that little low flick, used the weight of the lead, and I just said no, and then she's walking, nope, perfectly. Heel. If she's walking nice, you're a little bit taller than me, but I would try occasionally to do that, but not very much. Sit. Now sometimes when you're in the early stages of using any lead, I like the lead to become part of everything we're doing. So although I can say the SIT word and she'll sit immediately, I might do this, sit. So I'm taking that opportunity to condition her when she feels the weight of the lead doing that and she maybe hears a little chink, that's time to pay attention. Heel, sit. So people usually use a lead where they are conditioning a dog to react to lead pressure, and that would be like a little pull like that, heel. So it would be heel. So that's lead pressure. But we go to the next, nope, we go to the next level. Nope. We want her to respond to the lead differently. Sit. So that's very low level, so you can start to tone that down quite quickly. And any time you get a dog in a nice quiet frame of mind, I think that little touch has the capacity, if there's any ability in the dog to release a bit of dopamine, I think that can help that. Whereas if I produce the ball or some food, or I start going, yeah, well done, that doesn't produce dopamine, that produces something else. Now the dog's not even sitting anymore. Yep. Sit. Down. And she loves working. That's the problem. She's thinking, have we done enough of this now? But you've got to go through that. Sometimes they have to be on the lead for longer, don't they? Yeah. Especially if you live up in town.
I've been doing enough of, just because she responds to working, and I've kind of been, I've never had a dog who responds so well to training. All we've done is just, the drive on and stuff, and we haven't practiced any of the.
What we've been showing you.
So I think it's got no brainer really. She needs to just practice switching off.
If you go into the park, if you're in the park for an hour, she maybe has 10 minutes of like more dynamic stuff, whether that's you doing things with her or she's allowed to have a bit of a fly around being a dog. And then she needs to have 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes back on the lead. And you practice a few turns, walking nicely and maybe sitting and laying down for a little bit. But we touched on it earlier, don't, oh, we're in this area now, right, so we walked a hill here, right, oh, now we're here, now I can fly around and do what I like, and now we're here, now that's where you throw the ball. Don't make everything obvious to the dog. Just try and mix it up, because if you mix it up, the dog's brain is more flexible and more able to deal with those unpredictable moments.
And what's your advice for like when she's interacting with other dogs? We're walking, dogs are approaching.
Although we've seen her like flying around with dogs and things, I think a lot of the time she's not that fussed with dogs. Yeah, she's not desperately seeking them out, is she?
It's when they come and they're overly boisterous, or
yeah.
So at what point do I intervene, or?
I try to, like, if I've got a dog, I'll show you the kind of thing I do. So, I mean, I'll get her off the lead. Yep. Sit. Yes. So if I had a dog flying over towards me now, so you can normally see when a dog's coming towards you, I would do this with her. Yes. Using that freeze dried, if we pop a couple of pieces of that down there, she's busy hoovering those pieces up. Her energy level's different. Some of those dogs will like start to come over, and then she's now projecting like, I'm not really that interested. and then they may spot something else. If you've got your dog out there flying about, most of those real nutter dogs, they will come towards your dog because they'll look at one of these this type of dog through experience means like either there's a fight going or I can have a right good tumble and a romp around and this kind of thing. So if you start to get your dog the capacity to be like less high energy at those moments, those dogs will sometimes just think, and then they're going to go off somewhere else. You just try, you use food quite a bit. So if you're rewarding with this food, the Royal Canin Giant Adult, we can throw that as far as the ball. Sit. Sit. So some of the times we're throwing that, we don't want it to be easy for her to find. So I've thrown that like as far as I could, and I've made sure it's landed in some long grass, so she's going to have to search for that. The other thing you can do sometimes, oh, she's back already, she's too quick. I'll tell you in a minute, hang on. So I've crumbled some pieces down there and I'm going to pull back a little bit because the wind's blowing up the field. So when she's finally found that and she chews, I haven't called her back. I never called her to come back. She chose to come back, and I've made that decision productive because I've already put that there. So we're making it that she goes away and she'll make that choice to come back like more easily. It's the first thing that pops in. I've done that now, I'm coming back. So like it's not something she's thinking. She's not thinking about where I am because I'm telling her. It's just subliminal now. It's in there. It's just something she does. She doesn't even process it anymore. And the whistle, we haven't really hardened off on that yet because that would have probably developed more in this other week if we'd have kept her a bit longer. Yes. So it's a subtle difference between those two whistles. Although they're both a single pip, one is longer. The other one's short and sharp. The longer one is if you do enough of the training, the longer one is the one that becomes like your ability to do an emergency stop with the dog with the whistle, and they stop. Yeah, and it means you can maybe have the capacity to stop the dog somewhere further away without shouting like a madman. And it's just conditioning. This is not there yet. So when I'm doing it that way, there's an implied block ready to happen. She knows that, and then practicing like this is how she can learn to differentiate between those two whistles meaning two different things. But it's just like practice, and don't make it exactly the same. I hate training in a real exercise-based way. I feel dogs learn better if you train more naturally. So it's just part of what you're doing, and then they learn. Rather than you just ram it in. Now you've got it wrong, so I'm going to punish you. Ram it in. Now you've got it wrong, so I'm going to punish you. You know, I don't like that, and I don't feel that it's the best way to train dogs. I like dogs to do it because they're willing and they've understood. That's the, you know, to me, that's the better dog. And then the other whistle. Oh. That's the one that's the recall whistle. The series of pips, which we haven't really done, you know, but that's what it is.
Practice that with it.
Yeah. So, I think we've done more than that. You ain't going to remember half of this. Even as intelligent as you are, you're not going to.
You can send me the video.
Oh, it's what that? I'll bust my computer trying to send this, won't it? You know, how long's that? It's like 45-minute film. I'm not very. I'm not. But you're going to come. But you're going to come back.
Yeah.
I might upload some of that to YouTube. Yeah.
Okay.